The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. I'm Nikki Glaser. It is Thursday. I am in St. Louis with Andrew. And I have both dogs on my lap. Andrew has both our little stuffed animals on his lap so that he doesn't feel alone. And it's funny that the hedgehog and the llama are Luigi and Marion. Okay, well, Marion is going over underneath the table now.
Well,
die.
I would say that
Isn't that what animals do to go die? Why are you underneath the table? She's getting shade in our room. She's so hot. I just took her for a walk, and she just lays, like we went into the Starbucks, she just lays flat on the ground to get that cool ground.
Yeah.
She's so overheated. It's so goddamn hot outside.
Think about how many fucking times she has to step, too, just to get there.
I know, she has so many more steps.
It's like a centipede.
Yeah, but you're right. You're a little centipede, aren't you? And I pick her up because she gets so lazy on walks. She's so fat right now. What is she doing? Look she's going even deeper underneath the table.
What's
she doesn't
under
want to
there?
be on camera. I don't know. There's something about when dogs want to die, they like go away.
Yeah. Come here,
and they
Mary.
go, oh, her what? Tail is wagging. She's not dying. No. She doesn't jump up. She has.
Oh.
Don't. You always got to pick her up. Sorry.
I saw some video of like this dog was too old to die, or not too old.
That sounds like a James Bond.
Yeah, that actually is a pretty cool line.
James Bond, too old.
To die. Is Sean Connery dead?
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to the Rock.
I think he is. I think he died of, I'm going to say 5 years ago.
I found out Don McLean was still alive today.
Really? Oh, yeah. He sent Taylor some flowers
still
because
alive.
she.
Sean
John
Connery?
Connery?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. He died at age 90, October 20th. False alarm.
October 20th, what?
What year?
2020.
Oh, so he wasn't too
So
old
4
to
years
die.
ago in what it's felt like.
So this dog just walked off into the woods and goes, I'm too old. I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die.
That's what animals do.
That's crazy.
Luigi was really, really sick when I first got him once, and he just disappeared. They don't want to like burden you, and they want to be alone. And that's when your animals go off and do something weird, and they're like hiding under tables or something. They're hiding so that, I don't know, there's probably like they don't want to be bothered when they die. They want their, like, I don't know what it is, but he went up. He would not come out from under the stairs because he's just going down there to die. And it was so sad when we looked up like what's going on with that, and they're like, no, that's what they do before they die. And I was like, oh, Luigi was dying.
Oh, my God. So
Yeah, you
sad.
were a baby boy. He was so sick. He was so cute when he was sick. I wanted to like make him sicker.
I'm a little embarrassed that I'm dying.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, they're like ashamed.
I always
should be.
felt
That's
that
why-
way about a subway. If I die on the subway, I would feel terrible. Didn't you say that too?
Why?
Just, I don't know. I think my last, like, would be embarrassing.
We were talking about like getting cremated and stuff, and how
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I would literally donate my body to necrophiliacs because I don't care,
Yeah.
or lay it out in the like.
I'm sure you have some listeners right now that are like, please die tomorrow.
Those people just want me dead. They don't want to fuck my dead body. I mean, that's just YouTube commenters. What I wanted to say though, I read on Reddit that
Right.
a lot of people, this woman goes, it was the saddest story. Gear up, trigger warning for sad dog thing. She was like, my dog recently died, and like they weren't even that old or anything, but they were just having issues where they were like peeing in the house, shitting in the house, and like she was like, I didn't know that was a sign of like severe illness, that my dog was like was shutting down. I just thought the dog was being bad, and so like I feel so bad reflecting on how I was like yelling at my dog the weeks leading up to its like diagnosis because I just thought he was being like a bad dog, and I was like yelling at him because he couldn't control it. And it's like, so if your pet is doing things that is like abnormal, don't yell at them. Last night I got up to go to the bathroom. I always walk Marion and Luigi right before I go to bed. So like sometimes 11:30 at night, just for their last pee, because the idea of them holding in pee throughout the night like makes me so sad. So they both went pee, and then in the middle of this morning at 5 a.m. I went to my bathroom, and I'm like, God, Chris's shower last night is still, he got water everywhere. Marion pee everywhere. A lot too. And I was like, Marion. I just did that. That's what I do when she pees.
It's amazing how much piss little dog like
my
this?
God. Well, they were playing so hard last night that they were drinking a lot. They were playing it was so freaking cute. They were live.
They really do lift each other's spirits.
Yeah, they do. You know what lifts their spirits is, I don't know what this is. If there's any vets listening, why is Luigi such a bummer when I'm home alone with him? Like, he's always looks sad. He always is looking at me disappointed. He's never wanting to play with me. He gets excited when I first come home after a while. But then it's just like, as soon as that is over, he just goes to the couch and he looks at me like he's almost like ashamed or sad. And like, I go, what's going on? And he like leans away from me because he's just so sad. Then the second Chris or you or any friend comes over that he knows, he starts playing again. Like, not with us, but just like he gets active and starts like going to chew on a bone in the corner. Like,
maybe he gets more attention from you when he acts sad.
No, there's no attention. Like, he's not getting attention when a friend comes over. It's like, it's not because he's getting attention from both of us. Like, I will just have a friend over. We will be sitting on the couch talking, and Luigi suddenly will be happy across the room chewing on a bone, like, la, la, la. Like, why can't he be like that when we're alone?
Think about yourself. When you're with your mom, you're not like, yeah, wow, just alone with her. You just sit in silence, and then cool uncle shows up. You're going to get more excited. That's the same kind of concept.
I don't get what you're saying. I would have just been happy like hanging with my mom. I didn't like when uncle showed up. Or I don't want my mom's friend to show up. I want more attention because now my mom's giving attention to this person.
Yeah, maybe.
So it doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe he just likes
having all the people he loves together in one place. It's almost like when Chris isn't here or you're not here, he's worrying about you. But then when he's got you both here, two people who he knows he loves, he's just happy to have you. And so every time Chris is over, he's like, they are so cute. And I'm like, they are never like this when I'm alone. Luigi is a different animal when I'm with him. And then when someone else is around, he is just so, he's just happy. He's chewing on bones. He won't touch a goddamn toy to save his life when I'm alone with him. He has bones everywhere. Fresh treat. I will give him treats. I'll give him pieces of like a fucking pigeon I just killed.
Maybe you're trying too hard.
No, but the second someone comes over and I'm like, hey, and we're just talking on the couch, not even paying attention to him, he goes and he picks up that bone and then he's like, and he just chews in the corner by himself. It's so weird.
Okay, here's my theory. My theory is when you're home alone with him, he feels like, okay, I just have my mom here. I'm doing my job to hold my post. And then when someone else comes, he feels free, especially if it's someone that he trusts. Okay, well, this person is taking care of my mom. I'm going to go do my little thing in the corner.
I like that. My only thing because I do think that in some ways that's true. He is so not aware of me when I'm home. It's not like he's like worried about me. He's mad. It looks like he's mad at me constantly. I'll look at him
calm.
And then I look over at him and he'll just look back away. And I'll go, do you want some kisses and hugs? And he'll move away from me, like, get away. He like hates it. When we do the podcast, he fucking loves it. This is his comfort zone, is two people he knows talking to another person on Zoom. No, two people he knows having fun. Like, he just feels secure when there's family together. I think I relate to that of like when everyone's taken care of. Maybe you're right, Noah. Like, I know that these people are taken care of, so I don't have to try anymore.
Well, I mean, when he gets to your parents' house, he perks up like a motherfucker. Gets real excited.
That I'm not confused about because that equals like new
home.
environment. Oh, I get to see people I haven't
seen
in a while. The initial, like, Chris comes over, he's like, all over Chris. I get all that. It's after Chris and I are just established hours later. He's chewing on bones. He's so happy. It has nothing to do with us. It's not like he's playing with us. It's so weird.
Mango does something similar. Like, we'll hang out in the house, and then when Brenna comes, it's like a different cat.
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy's a good time.
Have you been, how's it been being home from the road? We have the weekend off. You're going to a wedding coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What's been the scoop this week? We don't talk outside of the podcast. How's life been?
We save it all for the pod.
Listen, if that makes anyone sad out there, how often do you talk to your best friend? We talk to each other for an hour a day. That's
also,
a really
we're
long time.
together all weekend. Like, we talk plenty. We've probably talked more than any two people on earth, almost. So anyhow, it's good. Like, things are good. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy. Freaking, I like being home. I like having a schedule now for some reason. I'm getting older. I could see myself as a morning person.
Oh yeah.
This morning I worked out at 7 a.m. I went to a class. 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Then I had all morning. I was just doing like little things that I necessarily wouldn't do. I don't overthink it. I just get shit done.
I love when I wake up early in the morning and you get something done. And then you've accomplished so much by 11. Like you're just like, my day is done, and now there's no burden of like I gotta get that thing done. It takes me a while though to get back into that. Like I'm supposed to be writing my book proposal against this week, and I'm like, I can't. I did a show on Sunday night. Monday I have to do a podcast, and I have to do all this and everything. I didn't have a day off. I don't have days off, and so I said it last week, but I mean I can't get. I was supposed to start my book proposal this week again and start working on it. I cannot do it. I've been sleeping. I've been pushing the podcast till 11:30 because I'm like, I need to stay in bed. Like I just can't get up, and it's But when I am home long enough where I can get in that routine, God, it feels good.
It takes me like 3 or 4 days to get back in that kind of routine.
I've been running again, and it's awesome.
I really feel like if we didn't go on the road, I'd be like a 6 a.m. person.
For me, it's not the road on the weekend. It's the weekdays being filled with bullshit. Like the press stuff has been killing me. Like I feel like Monday to Thursday, Friday, Sunday to Thursday, or Monday to Friday, that's a good enough chunk where I'm like, okay, I can always count on that to do the same thing. Like weekends I can be traveling, and it's like a weekend, you know? If I have Monday to Friday where I'm just doing one podcast a day and maybe one other, or working on my book proposal, that leaves me enough space to create, to do stuff. It's just like I just can't get a break. It's just constant. I have to have a phone call with a woman after this about I signed up to do this thing that I thought would be really fun because I thought I would have time to do it, and it's like I don't have any time. I have to learn a TikTok dance for this NBC show that I have to film myself doing. I thought I could film myself on the phone. They just sent an entire camera case that I have to set up and learn this TikTok dance. I haven't learned the dance yet. I invited my sister over because I was like, oh, it'd be fun for us both. We're both bad at dancing, but we like to learn dances, to learn it. And I don't care about being a bad dancer on TV anymore, so I gladly was like, oh, I'll do this. They're not paying me that much, but I'm like, I got to learn this dance. I thought it was going to be like 3 weeks from now, and they're like, no, we need it by Friday, 8 a.m. So it's Wednesday right now, by the way. We're filming this. I have to learn a dance in 2 days that is not that easy.
And you got to learn how to set up a camera.
Yeah. Professional
like I love
camera.
that they're making you the director. They're like, hold the boom. Can you hold the boom? And can you get yourself
coffee? It's better
coffee?
than flying to LA. As soon as they go, you can do this remotely.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, and they said shoot it in high def, and I'm like, oh, that means on your phone. I think they changed their mind after the initial pitch, and now they're like, but I'm not giving back the suitcase they just sent me. They sent me a suitcase, and it's a gorgeous suitcase, so I'm like, I'm keeping that. It's probably like a Target one, but it's still fucking nice.
3 months, they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna need that back,
man. But I've loved getting back in
a routine.
Yeah, I've been running again. And you know what?
Where'd you run in the park?
Yeah, I just do the same route every day. I probably gotta switch it up because I'm gonna get murdered. But I've been bringing my Tiger Lady with me when it's my self-defense tool. So come at me. You're gonna get scratched pretty hard. Just warning you. It's gonna be pretty annoying. You can still rape me, but your back's gonna get scratched up. You're gonna look like you were
fucking me first.
Yeah. You're gonna look like I liked it at first. But it's been fucking hot here. I mean, we left on last Friday.
It's 40 degrees.
It was 40 degrees.
Yeah.
We came back on Sunday. Forecast for Monday, 94 degrees. So I've been running, and I love running in extreme heat. I love it. There's something about it's like, because I don't run for like burning calories anymore. I run for like the cleanse of it, like my soul, and like just sweating a lot and like feeling like, oh, like I love the feeling that I get on a run. 4 miles is perfect for me because the first mile, I'm like, okay, this is easy, 1 mile. And then the second mile, I'm like, oh, it's a little bit harder. Third mile, I want to fucking die and I want to give up, but I keep going because I like the feeling of, Louis C.K. used to say he'd run 5 miles a day because there's always a part in 5 miles where he wanted to give up, and you have to persevere past everything in your body saying, please stop. Which there's a point where if you're having an injury, please stop.
It's like writing a movie in like those middle pages that are like, you just got to get through them to get to.
Writing a movie?
Yeah.
Middle pages.
Like if you write a movie, it's like 120 pages.
Right. I thought you said watching a movie. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, the middle.
Reading a movie, you know, subtitles, you call them pages.
Anyhow,
like
so
the middle is the hard part, but man, when that voice on my app goes,
Mouthful.
1 mile left, like it's perfect. There's something about things in quadrants for me, 4 pieces. First piece is like easy. Second piece, a little hard. Third piece, I want to die. If there was 2 more pieces, if it was fifths, it would be a little bit more insurmountable. There's something about the last fourth that is so easy because it's almost done. And it feels like it takes me 36 to 50 minutes to do this, depending on how fast I'm going. And lately, because I just don't care about the time, I'm not trying to like beat a time. And I'm just trying to like kind of just listen to a podcast, like go through my thoughts. I've been running like 10-50 miles. Like, I mean, I used to be at 7:30 and now I'm like, no, this is just about shuffling along, and it's so nice, and you instantly feel better. My mind is so much clearer. I feel healthy. Like there's no part of me anymore that goes, oh, now I can eat a lot tonight, or like, oh, good, I'm not going to be, it used to always be motivated by, I don't want to be fat, or like, now I can eat, or now I deserve something on the other side of this. And instead now it's just like a treat that I get to go run. I'm like excited.
That's how I feel about that class. You know, it's interesting, like it's F45 it's called, and I've talked about how it's like a little culty. Like today was David Beckham Day. Like it's his workout. He comes up on the screen.
Oh, so he's getting paid millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's so funny too. He like stands on his good side the whole time. He's
not stupid.
He's like, hey, what's up, guys? Like it's just his left side of his. He's very Mariah Carey.
Ariana Grande too.
And
when I worked with her.
But the F stands for functional. And sure obviously I joke that I can't get on the floor and stuff like that. And I've only been doing this 2 weeks, but a lot of it's movement that you just don't do when you get older. You just work out. You either run or you lift like this. This is like shit you would do like if you were training for soccer back in the, I mean, hence David, but like today there were like box jumps, and this box was like so 4 feet. I'm like, I'm not getting, like, I don't know, in my mind as a 42-year-old man, I go, if you asked me literally 2 weeks ago, could you get up on the, I go, nah, I can't. And literally in 2 weeks.
You're D42, dysfunctional 42.
Yeah, D42. Diabetes 42. I'm fucking jumping on this box and shit. And I'm like, it's like blowing my mind how quick you can change your brain and how
so
you think
mental.
and your body to be like, no, age is, I know it's just enough. You can literally still move your body like really well if you could just get over the hump. In 2 weeks, you can fucking do it. Yeah, and the hump
is a stack of boxes, David Beckham, that are sponsored by David Beckham.
His left side.
No, that's a good point. I always reference this, so I'm sorry I've said this a million times on the podcast, but it just boggles my fucking mind, the story that I heard on Radio Lab, that podcast, about a woman who was an ultra marathon runner.
Yes.
That used to run marathons and half marathons, and she was always she was just casually a marathon runner, not good at all. She had a brain injury where a part of her brain that short-term memory she has no short-term memory anymore. So her brain is constantly restarting. She can remember things long-term, like, where she went to high school, friends from, but like anything short-term, it's constantly restarting. And she could suddenly overnight do these 150-mile races when she was really just a 5K, or it was like a 10K.
Yeah.
Or like she wasn't doing anything like anywhere close to this. All that changed for her was that she was looking at these races. She was constantly starting over on these races. So if you constantly look at your life as, instead of going, this bike ride I have to do is 20 miles, if you just take it 1 mile at a time and start over, you can do more than you've ever thought you could do. And I think that that's something that even for this book, as soon as the woman helping me was like, let's not look at this as like a 40-page proposal. Let's take it 1 page at a time, one little thing. There's always tiny steps you can do. And I think that's just, it's so mental, because the way we look at these things, we go, I can't, like I was talking about 2 days ago about the, whatever you're dealing with, binge eating, smoking cigarettes, drinking, this idea of like, it's hard. This recovery is so hard. Quitting drinking so hard. If you keep telling yourself that, you're giving yourself excuses not to give up along the way. If you treat it like, well, actually, I just have to be sober this next minute, then this next minute, I always tell people that are like, you know, in my eating disorder recovery that are like, I'm never going to get to binge again. That's the only thing I ever want to do. I'm not saying that. You just don't binge for the next 5 minutes and then start over and say, you can binge in 5 minutes. See how it feels after 5 minutes not doing it. Let's go to break and see if you can make it through this commercial break without binging. We're back. I know this is turning into like an eating disorder help podcast, but I feel like as I've been listening to podcasts that have helped me overcome stuff, if I have a message of recovery that can get through with a comedy, like self-care kind of the conversational podcast we have, why not put that in there? Because you know, we can have it. You can have it all. I'm doing this recovery talk tonight, which is last night. It happened on Facebook. It's if you want to check it out, it's the Addiction Center. It's American Addiction Center's Facebook page. I did it at Facebook Live about my recovery journey, in quotations, because to me, once I got sober from alcohol, I went to pot, and then once the pot was taken away, I went to bulimia, and then I went from bulimia, I went to starving myself. Like I'm always, and then once I was couldn't starve myself anymore, I went back to pot. Like I'm always replacing it, and even now I'm like microdosing a little bit, and like there's always I'm replacing, so I'm a little bit reluctant to be like I'm recovered and I can't wait to share my steps with you, but I do feel I'm very grateful that I get to like talk about it, and I know it does help people because first of all, it's not fucking perfect, and I had posted about it, and Rachel Feinstein wrote to me and was like, it's so good that you're doing this, and I'm like, I feel like a fraud because I'm like, I just took like a microdose of mushrooms, which I don't feel, but I do like it. I know it helps me. There's something, it's not like I'm like getting fucked up or I'm like, whoa, the sun. It's like so subtle that I don't feel it, but I'm still reaching to something that is not me to like help me. And I'm on antidepressants. Actually, I'm not anymore, but I'm on like, I take things to make me feel better. Sometimes I do a kombucha because I'm like, I just want to feel something different. Caffeine, I'm fucking addicted to. But I feel like, as I always tell people that are dealing with addiction stuff, is like, there's always going to be something you supplement it with, whether it's crying, whether it's like feeling your feelings, like all these uncomfortable things. But if it's if it's lesser bad to yourself, for me, smoking pot is less evil than drinking for me. Some people might be the other way around. To me, bulimia for a while was less bad than drinking. Then that got too bad because I was getting mouth sores and like my throat was sore and I was tired of cleaning toilets. Okay, so then now I'm going to switch to this other thing. Like I'm always, and that's okay. Well,
the addiction is switching. Like that's an addiction in itself.
I don't think that
you don't think?
Is. No, I think that.
What do you think that is?
Well, I know that I'm dealing with feelings of discomfort when I want to reach for the food, when I want to reach for the pot. I just having an uncomfortable feeling and I want to feel something else. Even if I reach for music to go like, I just don't want to think right now. I want to put on music. Like it's something to kill the thoughts that I'm having because I'm uncomfortable with them, and that's okay. Like it's okay to have addictions. You're not a bad. There's nothing wrong with you. It's like. We're constantly seeking other things to distract us. It's, I always say though, if you're being like, I can't believe I smoked pot. I can't believe I drank so much. I got wasted last night. Let's just say if you didn't get wasted, you might have beat your children. You might have kicked your dog. You might have cut yourself. These things might be worse than what you did. So maybe you were doing the best thing you could do. And that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Does any of this resonate with you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the idea of having, I guess you could call them healthy addictions, although, any healthy addiction can become unhealthy depending on how
when your life becomes unmanageable.
Yeah, but this class helps me tremendously in the sense of it gives me structure, which then I could apply to my life. And like I just feel like it's the first time I took a workout class, because I've done CrossFit, I've done like other kind of things where it starts out like, oh, I'm into this. And then they go, you could do a little bit more weight than that. You could do more. And then it becomes injured. Like man upping kind of shit again. Yeah. And it's like,
or
come
Orange
on,
Theory when
motherfucker.
Your stats are on the board or you're getting, yes.
Now F45.
Does this feel like that?
No, it doesn't. But they do have stat stuff, but it's like for your own heart rate. Like what you are percentage-wise. And there's a little bit of like, come on, you could do you could do more in regards, but it's not like meatheadish. Like I've been around like a lot of meatheads.
Remember when you
where
fell
it's like,
off the treadmill because you were trying to run fast in front of Brenna? Does it feel like was that feeling that you got before you started sprinting that time where you got injured? Do you feel that ever now?
No, I don't.
That's good.
I don't. Even though I did jump as high as I could, but like the idea, like. No, it doesn't feel like there was whatever.
It was about getting past a fear in that way instead of trying to prove something to someone.
Like
you
now,
were overcoming a fear of like I can't jump this, as opposed to like if I jump this, then everyone will like me.
Yeah. It was honestly, it's just like a way to like push yourself without that like fucking like you could do more weight, and then that's how you get hurt. Number one, that's how like. You don't do good form, then you're not doing it correctly. Like there's so many reasons. So like this is good because it pushes you without that like extra like just there's just something about like.
It sounds like what I'm trying that it's motivated of like no, you can do this. This isn't about like prove it, you fucking pussy. It's like what's stopping you from thinking that looks like a crazy amount, but we know you can do it and it's not going to hurt you. Like,
yes.
Trust that this is okay and that you are capable of this. It's conquering a fear as opposed to trying to be better than trying to prove yourself. When we conquer fears, I feel like even me signing up for this dance thing, when they asked me to do it, I'm having flashbacks of Dancing with the Stars. I'm having flashbacks of getting trashed on that fucking podcast about my Bob Saget song. Like, I'm having all these fears of like, if people see me do this dance, which once I saw the dance, I'm like, well, this is not as cool as the Lizzo, like, in a minute, I'm gonna need a sentimental. Man or woman. That's a really cool dance where she's like,
yes.
This one is like, I feel the earth and the moon and the stars in the sky, and I'm doing things like this, and it's jazzy, and I try. And it's like a little bit embarrassing. But I was like, honestly, if I learn this dance, I will feel so good about myself. And I am scared of this. So I'm saying yes to it because everything in me is going, don't do this. But I learned the hard way when I did the first pitch that also scared me. And again, like Dancing with the Stars, I did it. It did not go the way I wanted to. I was humiliated no matter how much people say it wasn't that bad. I personally was deeply humiliated by it. And I was talking about it in therapy with Chris yesterday because that was a day that, oh my God, I was so fucked up that day. So that day I was, I did 2 days of press in New York, or 3 days in a row that just broke me. I mean, I told you guys both, like, if I do the podcast today, I'll start crying because I'm just so tired. I can't do it. And I've only been that much exhausted from work in the past one time when I went to the Comedy Cellar in 2013, and I was trying to do stand-up and Nikki and Sarah live and write all day. And one day I showed up at the Cellar to do a set, and I was just like, I can't. Like, I didn't even know what was happening to me. It was truly like Lindsay Lohan hospitalized for exhaustion. So on the heels of that New York trip, I fly right home on Friday. After Thursday night, I'm on Watch What Happens Live. I go out with Kieran and Shipka and those friends. I have like a good night, but it's still like a late night. I packed. My flight is at fucking 5 I get picked up at 5 a.m. from the hotel. I land. I have have to do the podcast, have an hour sleep, and then go to this Cardinals Day game, which I'm embarrassed by, aka like the way Noah is when she has a party thrown for her, any kind of attention that she didn't feel like she earned. Like, is that right, Noah? Like, having your birthday party, bar mitzvah, that kind of thing,
mitzvah,
like
yeah.
At a wedding, you're just like, I didn't like get a degree. I just got someone to love me. Like, I don't need all the attention.
Yeah, I just don't like the spotlight.
Yeah, I related to you on that Nikki Glaser day, but I couldn't say that because it was such a gift that was being given to me, and people worked so hard, and it was for me to be anything like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is embarrassing would be really hurtful to the people that put so much effort into this. And I'm trying to make this quick, prior to me doing the Cardinals game and this whole Nikki Glaser day came to be, I sent the email to Chris, my boyfriend, because he loves the Cardinals, and was like, hey, what do you think of the schedule, all the press interviews, all the things I'm doing at the Cardinals game? And he was like, it'd be cool maybe to throw out t-shirts with Fredbird or whatever. And I think I've talked about this before, but I really examined what happened that day. And I was like, oh my God, I would love that. The girls are hot. You get to wear short little shorts. You get to like be on the dugout and like throw t-shirts and be like, wow. And like, it's kind of like being a Hooters girl, but like in a tasteful way with Fredbird. I was like, oh my God, that would be so fun. I really was gung-ho about it. And then Chris was like, okay. And that was his suggestion. And I said yes to it. And I was meaningful of it. I followed up with him being like, oh yeah, to make sure that because he's talking to people, he's like, I'm getting involved. I was like, make sure you do the t-shirt thing. So again, I'm like, do the t-shirt thing. Again, I'm thinking in my head, that was his idea, but I'm into it. And then the day I throw the pitch, it doesn't go well. I can't cry about it because then I seem like an ingrate. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I just want to like get through it. And then I have to go do this, slingshot these t-shirts with these hot girls. I'm feeling fucking big.
It was on the big screen too.
And I saw like myself in my outfit. I did not look small. I looked old compared to these girls. Like all the shame of that pitch started going to my looks and my athletic prowess. And like, who do you think you are? People at this game think you're a joke. No one cares about Nikki Glaser. Everyone's like embarrassed that you're even doing this. They're probably like, ew, what is Nikki Glaser Day? Like, stop. And so I'm waiting in the wings before going out to do the t-shirt, and I am in no mood to do this, and I'm trying to keep it together, but I'm kind of projecting. I'm so mad that I can't accept that I have done this to myself. I agreed to this. I was the one that was like, yes, Chris, I want to do that idea you had. I can't accept that, because if I do, then I start going like, I'm so embarrassed about the pitch, I have to blame someone for it. It cannot be my fault. It has to be, they didn't let me practice. They wanted me to do this, and I was coerced into it. I don't even want to do this fucking, like, because then they're going, the slingshot thing is a lot harder than it looks. And I'm like, oh, great. A fucking another thing that I'm like, I don't even want you to tell me how to do it, so I have an excuse for when I do it poorly. I can blame you for not telling it to me. And so I start kind of getting an attitude towards Chris, who's with me, because he's, the people you love the most, you like take it out on them. Because they're going to be there for you regardless, and they love you. So you start being a brat to them. And so I'm just like, I don't even want to do this. When I'm kind of alone with Chris and one other guy, then I'm like, he won't tell anyone. I'm being a little ingrate. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess I'm ready. Yeah, it's raining outside. Cool. Yeah. I look old. Like I was just being a brat, like I'm going to fuck it up and just look stupid again. I'm like letting out. And he's kind of like, are you mad at me because you're doing this? Like, and in my head, I'm like, yeah, it was your fucking idea. You added this to my day, and you don't know how tired I am, and you're not looking out for me. And I'm like, and later on, that came up as like, I felt really weird that day. It felt like you were like making it like I forced you to do this thing, and I go, yeah, I did make it that way. Like when I re-examined it, I go, my God, you got me in I was being the biggest brat. You got me in I was being a baby because I was tired. So I had no way to be like strong emotionally. I was embarrassed, which makes me like, you trip over something on the sidewalk and you go, what the fuck? Cause you're so embarrassed. When you get embarrassed.
Who put that crack there?
Yeah. You either get angry or you get like, oh, I meant to do that. You get cut or you get angry.
Or you play a victim. Like this wasn't my decision at all.
Yes. And so that's what I did. I was like, and so I explained to him last night, I was like, you're so right. I was blaming you for that because I couldn't blame myself because I was already so embarrassed. I had to give the blame to someone. And he goes, but I just suggested it. You were the one that was like, I want to do it. And you were enthusiastic. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's fucking, I was like, because he goes, it was interesting because he said, like sometimes we say things to each other that we just go, that felt really good to hear. Like I needed to hear that. I didn't know I needed to hear that. I told him once that, because I meet a lot of hot guys and guys that on paper seem like really like amazing and maybe from afar, like they're like celebrities that I've maybe like drooled over or like I like their character. And then I meet them and I'm just like, I give them a lot more than they deserve because I don't know them. I've projected a lot onto them. They're hot, whatever. And there was something about Chris and going to therapy with me and like really working on himself and being emotionally vulnerable that I was like, I told him one day, I was like, every time I see a hot guy now that I might project a lot of like perfection onto of like, or I start getting in those what ifs I dated him if I'm having a bad day with Chris or whatever it is. I always see a little meter above their head now that is on 0 for like emotional intelligence. Cause I just haven't met someone to me that's willing to be as nimble and like doing uncomfortable things emotionally that Chris has. And I was like, for me, your meter is on like 9. Like you've got, but you challenge yourself. And like, I don't let guys start out on like 9s anymore. They have to prove a 9 to me. They're all on 0. And he was like, there's something about that really made me feel safe. Like, because I'm sure there is a part of him that's like, you're famous now. You're going to meet guys that are very shiny And like if we're having a bad day and you go on set with someone who's like fun and like flirtatious and like you've seen him before on paparazzi shots and he looks so cool and like maybe he played an emotionally evolved character, like you might give him a lot more than he deserves. And I'm like, no, I don't do that anymore. Like I have everyone starting at 0. You have to earn that to me. And he was like, that made me feel really good. And then the other night he had told me that like, no matter what, I just know you're a good person. And if anyone were to ever say you're a bitch, I would really, I think I've mentioned this before. He goes, I would never let someone call you a bitch. I think a lot of times like people can say that women are bitches or like maybe in the past, I don't think he said this, but he could maybe think or like maybe I was up to no good or like was out for myself. He was like, I know that you're a good person. And there's just something about that made me feel the same way that dumb meter thing I said to him.
Seen, yeah.
I was just like, okay, if we're on that base level where you can, even though I make you mad and some days I can seem like a bitch, if you can get to the place of like her bitchiness is coming not because she's inherently a bad person. It's something's up that's making that happen. I can always be okay being myself or like that I have the freedom to be a bitch sometimes because you know I'm not one. And that day it's Halloween, you know, and I'm dressing up as a bitch. And there's just something very nice about having that. Is there anything that you've been given like that where you go, oh, I didn't know I needed to hear that compliment or I needed to hear Brenna say that? Is there anything that strikes you?
Well, what strikes me is the suggestion thing. The idea that like I've done things where like someone will suggest something and I don't want to do it, but I do it. And then I take it out on they don't deserve the anger or whatever, but because I agreed to it.
Yes.
And so I've done that many times in my life where someone's like, "Hey, let's go do this." And I'm like, "Yeah," okay. Instead of having like not an argument or a disagreement about wanting to do it, or like maybe I'll feel guilty because they'll be like, well, I thought it would be a good idea.
Yep.
And so then you just do it and then you're there at the thing and you're like, what the fuck
am I doing here? And I never wanted to do this
anyway.
You forced me to do it because I was trying to be nice and I'm scared that you're going to get mad at me if I'm not nice. All of that is still you. No matter what, if that person would get mad at you, like, okay, well then deal with that. Like, stop trying to people please.
Where I've gotten to, or I'm trying to, is like, even if I do put myself in that predicament that I don't want to be in, I go, it's not there. Stop pointing. Just stop pointing and start. Like,
maybe learn a lesson of not saying yes too quickly to things.
Yeah.
Or being okay with when you get to something going like, it's okay for me to not like this, even if I thought I once was going to like it. It's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm like.
Here's the other crazy thing. You might really love it.
Oh yeah, I know.
And
it's, that's why Chris was talking about pickleball yesterday, and I just don't want to play pickleball because I'm nervous about being unathletic around his family who's athletic and like holds like that in high esteem. Like I have this fear that they're going to reject me as one of them if they see how unathletically inclined I am. So I'd rather just not be there. And have them not even think of me as opposed to going and being like, oh, I don't need to play. Then they go, well, maybe she's bad at this.
Maybe we need like a montage where we go and play pickleball and you get really good and you just show up. You're like...
It would be so funny to train.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not kidding you. I think I might start taking pickleball lessons and then show up one day. He doesn't watch my podcast.
I know. But
this would be amazing. Please do not tell him. That is a good idea, and I think I'm going to do it as a surprise.
Dude, you should.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, let's go to break and come back with all Fanthrax all day long. All right, we're back. Let's get to it. We were supposed to do an all Fanthrax show, but you guys know we get off on tangents. So the rest of the show will be all Fanthrax, but it's it's a regular size segment. Let's do it. You guys seriously need to look at the YouTube of this because I'm covering myself in all the things I got just in fucking New Jersey this weekend. So many letters. This beautiful painting that a bestie made of her parrot. Yes. She has a cockatoo that has a shirt on that she made it a little like, vest that says Bestie on it. So her parrot, I forget the parrot's name.
But whatever.
Bestie. It says "Don't Be Good" on the frame. It says the Nikki Glaser podcast. She did the logo from the T-shirt, which besties have been wearing that T-shirt, the Nikki Glaser podcast T-shirts. They are so fucking cute. I love them. I love our merch. It says mascot because this I forget. Oh, it's Miss Marilyn Monroe is the name of the parrot, and I want to thank that bestie. I forget her name, but she was lovely, and we're gonna hang this up. I got so many cards. Let me just pick one at random. Noah, can I read a letter that one of our besties wrote to you?
I suppose.
There's a bracelet in it, a moonstone bracelet. It says, "Dear Noah," and she got your name right. NOA is just in case besties want to know. Noah, you are one of the most genuinely kindest people I've ever met. You are so soft-spoken, and sometimes I wish I could be, but that's not for me. You have so many unique things about you, and just that makes you one of the greatest and most interesting people I know. You've taught me to look at situations differently and to take different perspectives into account. I see this when you chime in when Nikki and Andrew have a disagreement. You have such great ideas for the pod and are so creative and make the pod such a fun experience. Love your whiteboard, by the way. You do things and ask so politely, and just shows how great of a person you are. Reminds me to be more patient. Love Avi's voice in the Fanthrax segment, which is my favorite because hearing other besties' stories and connections makes me so happy for them that they also have a space in this podcast. I can't wait to meet you someday, but keep killing it. Jazzy. Love, Edith. And she was at the Madison 9 p.m. show. So shout out to Edith. She wrote us all letters. Andrew got his. Mine I haven't read yet. I'll read it on another one. But yes, I feel that way about Noah. And I love that Noah, sometimes gets zero airtime on episodes because we are just chatterboxes. But people still, like that letter, I cannot believe how they get her so much. That is Noah to a fucking T of being patient, thoughtful, flawed, open about her flaws, understanding, working on herself. Like Noah
dividing balls with her nose,
admitting adorable things, her adorable voice. Someone who is just such a good friend, was such a good friend to me the other night when I, reached out to her about something that we were going to talk about offline. She shared this thing that she's going through with me, and we were talking about it and sharing, and it was just so nice to catch up in that way. And then, it's so like Noah does, like she shares this thing that like should take up hours of our conversation and dissecting, going through. And then I share a little something, like just a little like, yeah, I've actually been feeling that way about this. And she's like, wait, what's going on with that? And then then we talked for so much longer about my dumb little thing. And it was just like, but it wasn't dumb. Noah never makes me feel dumb about my problems. She never makes me feel like I'm not being a good friend to her, even though there are times where I go like, man, I haven't checked in a while. All I do is work with her. You're just just a gem of a person, and so damn good at your job, girl.
Thank
and
you.
Adorable,
I love to hear that.
You don't want to hear adorable. Yes, but I love that Edith saw you so completely in that. Let's get to some of our messages, voice memos.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start off with Nick from Germany. You guys are going to love this.
Hi, Andrew, Nikki, and Noah. I'm Nick, and I'm a bestie from Germany, and I wanted to tell you a mispronunciation and curse story today. A few weeks ago, a friend came back home from the US, where she lived the past year, and somehow it's very common that Germans who lived abroad sometimes pretend they don't know German words anymore. So a few days ago, we watched Germany's Next Top Model. It's the German version of Next Top Model by Tyra Banks, if you know that show. It's very huge here in Germany, and they are all about diversity this year. Mm-hmm. So there are some petite, plus size, or best agers, And my friend said, as we watch, oh, I love that there is so much, I don't know the German word, variety this year. I told her, first, bitch, you are so for pretending to not know your native language anymore. And second, you don't know the English word either. It's variety. So that's my little story. I hope you guys have all the swells. Love you guys. Love the pod.
Love you.
And
Just kidding.
Oh my God. Wow. What the hell? That
guy's a mad scientist.
That guy went and recorded a Just Kidding from the podcast to reuse it on, Nick, standing ovation for that. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to watch Germany's Next Top Model because that show is not big in the US anymore like it used to be. But man, when that show was like popular, it was so fun to watch. Obsessed. So it'd be kind of cool to watch a country that really is obsessed with that show still and like puts that much effort into it and cares that much. It might be a good watch. That reminds me so much of the Hilaria Baldwin thing of when she's on the Today Show and she goes, how you say cucumber? Like during the segment because she speaks Spanish so much. I will say that who told me that when you do speak, maybe sometimes the way that you besties say that sometimes you say my friend Nikki and people are like, who's your friend Nikki? And you're like, oh, I'm not really friends, which is a podcast. It's how I feel about Reddit sometimes, where I'm like, did a friend tell me this, or just these people being so open? Someone said in a Reddit defending her, I think it was that when you speak another language sometimes so much, you do forget the English word. I think your friend was trying to be curt, but I want to give the benefit of the doubt that sometimes you can't make that translation. And I almost give Ilaria that benefit of the doubt. Maybe she did forget how you say cucumber. But also how do you say is probably how you would say, if you're a native English speaker, you wouldn't say how you say, I
think
that's suspicious to do the English like a foreigner.
I'm thinking about how many times I've said variety, and it's really only with like cereal or potato chips.
Or a show in the 1970s.
Yeah, like it's not a word I say a lot. So I give her the benefit of the doubt because that is not a word that I...
Right.
But I don't know if I forget it, but... necessarily.
But even diversity, like he's saying, like she could have picked any German word that is like has a lot of different cultures or like has a lot of different ethnicity, whatever it was. She could have. I have a feeling Nick knows this friend better than we do, and this friend is capable of k, which does not make them a bad person. I'm wondering, Nick, if you actually did say k, and if she goes, "What does that mean?" and you tried to explain it, because a lot of times when you call out k, it's such an insult. Once you really explain it to someone, like, I think you're trying to be cool right now, that it's hard to like actually k someone who you have to then explain what k means. It's easy to k a revving engine because you just go k and the person's kind of like, that sounded shitty, but I don't know what it means.
Maybe you just thought it, but
I want to know if you really did k your friend and what the
I also want to hear k in Germany or German in Germany.
In Germany.
Jesus. Variety.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay, here's one from Ida.
Hey, besties. Hope you're having a good day and having all the swells everybody else as well. I was just listening to the Mullet House episode and the conversation of the fact that the word pussy and the word pussy sound the same, or similar, I should say, is kind of funny. So I actually have a story. I was working at a hotel, and I had a very bad, I think it was like a cut on my finger, something like that. And my manager was standing next to me, and I'm a little bit of an odd duck. I'll kind of just randomly shout things out loud.
Wait, what?
But I, saw that my finger was pussy, and I say out loud, "My finger is so pussy." And my manager just looked at me, laughed, and walked away. So that was pretty funny. Hope you guys are having a good day. Love you all. Bye.
It's so funny, Ida, because almost if you were to say my cut looks like a pussy, it would be less disgusting than saying pussy, because puss is such a gross word on its own. It's almost worse than pussy. I love you that you call yourself an odd duck. I think that's a very gentle, sweet way to describe like what, sometimes I go, I'm a weirdo. Sorry, I'm just weird. And it's like really derogatory, and like I always feel like an odd duck too with some of the things, anxieties I have, some of the weird things. I'm just like, I just don't like that. And I'm just weird. Sorry, I'm just stupid. I just don't like it. And it's a gentler way to be like, I'm just an odd duck, because ducks are so cute. I love that. And I want to know what other things you scream out loud sometimes. But I do. And I also want to know if you ever went back to your manager to be like, I was talking about this cut on my hand, and it looks like I wonder if it looked like a pussy too, because a lot of times pussies do look like wounds.
I mean, I think, I'm trying to think of other like words that we could use maybe for when you feel, different.
Autistic.
No, like a nice. Like,
autistic is actually makes me feel nice, because it's like, it's not my fault.
An odd duck. What's another example?
There was a great Reddit I was reading. Maybe I can just pull it up real quick. Sorry, Noah.
You are spending a lot of time on Reddit.
I'd go every single night.
This is the 8th Reddit reference.
It's where I get everything. I don't understand what people do if they're not on Reddit. It's the cutest, most fun stuff. Oh, let me just pull this up, because this was what's your favorite euphemism? This is different, but it says, what's your favorite euphemism for a dumb person? And this is another way of like, just like funny phrases. I could give them a penny for their thoughts, and I could give them a penny for their thoughts, and I'd get change back. Someone said, a beautiful lamp, but it sure isn't shining much. My great-grandmother used to just say that. He's got 2 brain cells left, and they're fighting for 3rd place. The wheel is spinning, but the hamster's dead. That made me... I love that. They sound like Dr. Philisms. You're the reason we... Now, listen. You're the reason we have warning labels. They have... they must have put your swing too close to a wall as a kid. This one's good. Honey, you're less useful than a chocolate teapot.
Because it will melt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so good. All right, let me just read this one really quickly. I just opened this randomly. This is from a bestie, I think in Montclair, New Jersey. From a bestie, it says. She printed this up. It looks like a newsletter. There's pictures of us on it.
That looks like my synagogue's newsletter.
Yes, it does look like that. It's from bestie Christiaan. On Instagram, she's fly_yellow_bird_fly. Fly, yellow bird, fly. Hi, Nikki. Congratulations on your well-deserved success. And it is so jackpot that someone like you with such a great grand platform chooses to be a voice for all animals. Your message for kindness and respect to animals is reaching so many. I remember meeting her. She gave me vegan shirts, too. And your enlightenment is undoubtedly helping animals in some way across the world. God bless folks like you, Ricky Gervais, and Alicia Silverstone. Hell fucking yes. I didn't realize this was going to be like such a... I'm not choosing this because I'm like, guys, look how sweet I am. It is pure enjoyment to throw on my AirPods and spend an hour with No Druki and other besties while I am going through my day. Thank you for this. Podcast listeners benefit from your encouragement to dare, share, and bear our feelings. I love Dare, Share, Bear. What a... That's got to be a segment name. That is good. Which fosters healthy relationships of our own. And in between sweet belly laughs, you instill beliefs in those still striving to reach a goal and confidence in those contemplating a change. What's more, you often suggest tools to deal with guilt and temptation and resources for those wanting to incorporate better health and wellness into everyday life. You all absolutely rock. Thanks again for all you do. Also, just to share, sorry, Andrew. Nikki, please, careful with that cute baby talk voice. Sometimes it seems like you're going to send Andrew into outer space, like the sound is a feather to his taint or something. What does that mean?
When I talk like this?
Yeah, apparently I'm turned on by it.
And then she signs off. Oh, she said she saw us at the Wellmont Theater in New Jersey, which was the most bestie attended event I've ever done. And she signed off, just don't eat animals. Thank you very much, bestie Christiaan. And she put little pictures of us. It was so nice.
I don't even know where you get pink paper. That's like such
I don't remember doing baby voices or you responding weird. That must have been one episode that I just can't remember.
And I came a lot.
I do remember that episode.
It was a lot of cum.
Yeah, it was like a Shakespearean musical.
But that was more what was going on with me. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't about me.
But it was Daring the baby voice, Daring. Mm-hmm. But it still wasn't you. It was more.
I don't even like. Oh, you know what? It's probably on the day where I was doing this, talking about
Elizabeth Holmes. If I was pitching like this, or I was like,
I have an idea for a blood mission.
It's that episode. Let's do another Fanthrax.
Okay, you want to give some advice?
ASMR.
I'd love to give advice.
All right. Here's a voicemail from Michelle.
Hey, Nikki, Andrew, and Noah. This is Michelle. I was listening to the podcast where you were talking about narcissists and alcoholics and how you have to stop being friends with them. And I have a situation where my childhood friend really only talks about herself anytime we get together. But I was wondering, how would you recommend ending that relationship? Is it something that you just kind of slowly let fizzle out and stop reaching out to that person? Or is it something where you would have a conversation with them? Or what has been your experience with ending those types of relationships? And any advice you have would be great. Thanks. Bye.
I'll let you take this one first.
I mean, for me, I think it depends. If she changes, would you want to have a friendship? I think you have to have a conversation with her first. If you want to possibly keep it going, explain like how she makes you feel, how she doesn't ask you questions, how she just talks about herself. And then if she just goes, well, you know what, that's who I am.
Or she goes, no, I don't, and dismisses your feelings.
Or cuts you off.
I think you're right, but I also, part of me goes, I hear the tone of her voice.
That she's done.
She's done. And you know, these people, it's almost like maybe you haven't been forthright with them about what you're feeling, but you've given them the tests of like, let's just see if they ever ask about me in this entire hangout. And you've given, and you can see, you can be friends with them long enough that you know that there's something that is unfixable about this, or that they don't, or maybe they don't take accountability for other things in their life. Every breakup they've ever had is the guy's fault, whatever it is. And you just know this is non-negotiable, or it probably is. And maybe you just don't even want to be friends with this person anymore, which, by the way, you're allowed to not want to be friends with someone. Yeah. You are allowed to not want to know a cousin anymore just because they're your cousin, or cut things off with a brother or something. You are allowed to do those things if they aren't serving you anymore. And I think people feel so bad because they're like, well, I've known her since childhood. Our parents are friends. She doesn't have anyone else. She needs to learn that if she continues this, she's not going to have anyone else. You don't need to be the one thing that's getting her to go, well, at least I have her. I don't have to change. That's actually enabling. I said this before, possibly, but the best way a friend has cut it off with me is to say, babe, I'm going, you can, because this person probably is not going to ever accept any blame for themselves and they're just going to spin it anyway. And it is a you thing ultimately, because you are being friends with someone, you've been friends with someone that for a long time has not been giving you what you need, which is a you problem, as much as you could probably understand that. What's the girl's name that wrote us, Megan?
Michelle.
I feel like just say the next person, the time this person writes to you, hey babe, I'm just going through a lot right now in my life and I just need some space. It has nothing to do with you, because honestly, it doesn't. What it has to do with is that you have boundaries now and this person isn't living up to them. So, and if you make it about them, they're going to get defensive. They're going to come at you and try to change. They're going to like keep going. You set a boundary of, babe, I need some space. And I just don't think I'm going to be able to hang out for a bit. And I'll let you know when I'm ready to again. That way, if they keep reaching out to you, it's done. Now, maybe this person and you share friends and you're like, now I got to cut out all those people. No, you don't. You're allowed to cut out people in your life. You're allowed to. And it might be awkward. It is a hard thing to do. Saying the word babe or whatever kind of loving thing you can say, doing it in a loving way, taking accountability for that this is your decision. There's nothing they could have done or do. But if you want to repair this, I think writing an email, writing a letter and getting it all out where you won't get interrupted, like I did to Andrew when I told him to answer this for me. And he didn't do a good enough job in my mind, so I started. No, that wasn't why at all.
Maybe.
No, I think you had a good point, but I just saw like,
no, but I think
I don't want her to have to work it out. Sometimes I'm just like, don't try to work this out.
That just happened to me, by the way.
I know, but I just feel like I feel like that happens all the time, where then the person doesn't learn. They just go, oh, well, all right. They just didn't want to hang out with me. I guess nothing's really wrong with me.
But it's not. But you have why to is it hear your job it sometimes. To teach them?
It's not
your job, but I'm just saying that it happens a lot.
Well, here's the thing. If the person
people
goes,
don't learn.
Is it something I did? Then you can say yes. And you can be honest. But wait for them to be curious if it's something they can change. Because someone who is like, that's what, what intervention, all those shows about, people are saying, we are not going to have you in our life anymore if you keep using this drug, if you keep hurting yourself. Like, I'm out. You need to pull your love for people to change, because once that tent pole comes out, they are a tarp on the ground, and they have to figure out I don't have that support anymore.
My point though is that with an intervention, right, there's something concrete. Like, you're taking this drug. We know it's the drug. This is it, right? But if it's someone that just talks about themselves and doesn't ask about, they probably don't really even, they might not even be aware.
Well, that's a good point.
That's all.
So maybe a letter, just so you can say it all without getting sidetracked by them responding, and saying everything you want to say in a very loving way of like, sometimes I go, I need a lot more in friendships than maybe most people do. And I require people to be interested in my life, which I have not felt. For some reason, I haven't felt from you. Maybe you are interested in my life, and I'm not interpreting it that way. But there's something wrong here, and it doesn't feel good to hang out with you. And I don't want to fake it with you. And maybe it's all me. Maybe I have to work on myself. Maybe we aren't just meant to be friends right now. Always lead with like love and not a lot of blame, but stating the facts of like, I feel like you don't care about my life, and I don't want to be friends with people who don't care about my life, because for me, my friendships, I care about my friends' lives. So when you don't care about mine, it's totally fine that you don't, but it means it. I interpret that as you're not a good friend to me. And so just, speaking from you as opposed to speaking from I and not so much you.
Yes.
Would be helpful, Michelle. And I hope it works out. And I know that's so tough, especially if you have friends in common or like places of hanging out in common. You might see them around.
I've done that, dude. I've ghosted friends before just over the things that could have been rectified through a conversation.
I just said this to Chris.
It's so hard, though. But I've seen people change after a conversation where you're like, oh.
Well, I just said to Chris the other day, when I say something that kind of makes you go, I didn't like that. Instead of, like what I do a lot of times, instead of just going, okay,
yes,
that's how I do it. I don't
like,
say okay, but like he was like, I don't say okay. And I'm like, well, whatever that is for you, where you hear something and you're just like, I'm just going to ignore that she said that because it's so upsetting. Will you try your best to just clear up whatever's going through in your head? And he's like, well, sometimes I'm just not even aware of it. And I go, well, you know what I can do? When I feel you maybe shutting down, because I can feel it immediately if I bring up something and I'm like, wait, what did I say wrong? He just dropped the subject. I can then go, I'm feeling like you didn't like what I just said. Can I ask you if that rubbed you the wrong way and what? So we can help each other
in
get
real
honest,
time too. In
real time, as opposed to just going, they're mad at me and then creating the story about why they're mad and they're so sensitive and all this stuff, when really it was just like a misunderstanding and honestly trying to avoid a fight. When you try to avoid fights, you make such a bigger one down the road. Final thought.
I'm sure this go ahead.
Noah, you said that this just recently happened to you.
I had, very quickly, because you have an interview. A friend broke up with me over email. I didn't like it, and it wasn't because I did anything wrong, except that I remained
my
friends.
Hotmail account. Wait, so
it was
over
you?
Email?
It was
what was her reasoning?
So the reason was she is going through a divorce with another friend that I'm friends with, her ex-husband, I guess, and I'm still friends with him, and I was still friends with her. But in her message, she said, right now in my life, I can't be friends with anyone who supports this person. And, I respect her decision. I'm not mad at her. I understand this is a life-turning event for her. And whatever her brain is telling her is not anything against me. It's just what she has to do. So I think you're right about just being honest in an email. And it was not emotional. It was just kind of sterile and just very direct. And I'm I think it was actually very big of her to confront me with it and to just be honest
instead of just kind of ghosting and like not inviting you,
which
to
is what I would do.
Not getting back. Yeah. Interesting. And you know what? That actually leaves space for the future of being like, hey, this thing that I before is no longer the case. Like when you get really honest, even though it might hurt to hear, like you can't help your feelings. She can't help that she is just. I can't help that I did not want to be friends after I found out one of my friends voted for Trump in the 2016 election. I was so hurt by it. And she had claimed that she voted for him because a really longtime friend that I had, wasn't close with anymore, but a high school friend. I was so deeply disturbed that my friend who's a woman who has daughters voted for Trump. I couldn't do it. And I said, I cannot be friends with you. And all of my other friends were like, really? You're pulling out of this our group chat because of this? And I'm like, I'm too angry about it. It honestly does nothing to do with her. It has to do with me and figuring out why I can't get over how someone has a different opinion about something to me. But to me, that was like being friends with my ex-husband.
Yeah.
And picking the side that I think is nothing but pure evil based on how emotionally invested I am in this thing going on. If you choose his side, I can't. And I am just now reconnecting. I mean, we always stayed friends. I would always write her on her birthday. We'd write each other like little inside jokes, but the day-to-day stuff that we used to be doing, it disappeared. And I was just in a bad place. And in some ways I stand by it. Some ways I'm still fucking angry about it because I just don't understand how her logic would be. Every man in my life voted for Trump. How am I not going to do that? To me, that was like, because you have a brain of your own, and when you get in the voting booth, your husband's not monitoring you. Just tell him you voted for Trump, and then don't do it. Like, do what's right for your daughter inside the booth, bitch. But maybe what's right for her daughter is having lower taxes or whatever her husband had convinced her was better than, you know, protecting your right to an abortion, a safe abortion, whatever in, you know, for me were the issues in 2016 that were on the line in voting for him. And I don't know the whole story and I don't know her experience, but we've just started talking again and I don't talk about politics, obviously. That's just, we don't talk about Bruno. And
yeah,
it's still hard for me though. It's still, there's a part of me that really is like so angry and feels betrayed. And yeah, it's like, but you know, I've had friends take breaks from me too for whatever reason. And I feel like so angry because I'm like, she doesn't understand. Like I wasn't doing that because of, just like my friend was like, I didn't do it because I don't care about abortion rights. I did it because I just want to get along with the men in my family, which I don't understand. The men in my family, their love isn't contingent on me voting the way they vote. But I don't know what it's like to be in a family like that. So it was a struggle, but I like people asking for advice.
Yeah, I hope that it helped her, and that I don't know. I hope that people get stuff out of it. You know, like it'd be funny if she was just like 5 years later, they're like, no, I'm still going through it. I'm still best friends with this girl who hasn't asked me one question yet.
I gotta say, Michelle, every fucking person I know has one person like, or one or two people like this in their life that they are just friends with out of just being nice and going with what they did before, doing what your family does. Oh, they're friends with my family. Oh, they are my family. I gotta just put up with it. Like, you don't. And people only get better if you set boundaries for yourself. They learn how to have boundaries for themselves, and they learn that their actions have consequences, as opposed to, like, you're not doing anyone any favors by faking, like, putting up with them, unless they're your boss and, like, you know, you're just trying to fucking get a paycheck. Look, right, Andrew?
It pays rent, baby. Gets that new watch.
You better agree with me. All right.
Rap. Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah, rap.
Yo, sometimes I fucking feel like a hedgehog. I'm running through the smog. All I want to do is jump like a frog. But I get held down by this fucking girl over here who shits like a log. But, dude, I'm just fucking around. It's just a song.
And sometimes I feel like a llama. You know, I get mad at your mama. And sometimes I want to vote for Obama, but he's not on the ticket. So you got to just hit it. And then a friend votes for Trump, and you might have to quit it. But the point of this all is that Quidditch is a game that was in Harry Potter. And I know that sounds lame, but I gotta go because I gotta get on a call. I'm talking about a dance that I don't want to do at all. Am I gonna bomb it? Probably, but let's just see on NBC 2023. All right, guys, don't be have a great weekend. We'll see you on the pod on Monday. And
Jackie Joke Man.
Jackie the Joke Man? Marling? Stern, Baba Booey. Hit him with the hind. Bye, guys.
Beetlejuice.